I was listening to a podcast. They were discussing the idea of having more than one option when pursuing a male or female, or should I say female? Anyway, and I was quite surprised by the responses. So from both the men and women. So I decided to send a message to our group chat just to find out their views. To my surprise, honestly, I was really shocked by the responses. So I was told that I have to bring it to the camera. Should we have more than one option in our romantic pursuit?
100%. Yeah, I think so, yeah. But once you're still assessing the situation, you can assess a couple.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. And then you start dropping them out and then you wife one up.
Oh, okay, cool. And
I would say yes, with a caveat that it depends on the stage that you are discussing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I agree with Sam. I think it's yes
Why
with a
do you agree with
caveat. Because to me, actually, I lean more towards no. But I think if we discuss specifically what like Dami means, maybe then we can tease it out.
Okay.
I say no.
Oi.
Wow.
Since when? Wow.
Wow.
Because the who's watching this episode? Trying to protect
No
you.
one's watching it. No. In all honesty, I'd say no personally. But I think it's up to you to discuss with the people that you might be in conversation with to make that clear.
Okay, I find that very interesting as the chat went slightly differently. We will discuss that further. Could we just describe the stage that we're talking about?
Listen, let's say you have a job that you're trying to hire for. Wait, let me land and you get where I'm going. Yeah. At the beginning, you've put the job advert out there. You get a lot of applicants. You get me?
Especially if you're Dami Saeed.
You get a lot of applicants. So you have to sift through a number of CVs. And you're not going to phone screen just one candidate. You're going to speak to a couple of people. Let me see where it's going. So I feel like if we're at that early stage, that very early stage of just talking. Now, I know you're going to say talking is something different, but just talking. I feel like, you can have one or two CVs that you're checking.
Yeah, so when I say that, I agree with Sam, I think we're talking preliminary.
Yeah.
Could you explain what that looks
So
like?
it's just maybe, hey, how's your day? Great. You're finding out about what they do and blah blah blah.
Very high level.
Nothing very low level, very basic stuff. High level.
Yeah, it's high level.
Like I meet someone at a cocktail party, for example. Hi, what's up?
Man's going in circles. What kind of circles you moving in? Cocktail party.
You get me? She's a different level on there. So but I was saying just your general chit chat. But when it starts moving out of that, and then you're now maybe going on dates and blah blah blah, then you might need to have another conversation, reassess. Okay. Like I might need to.
I'm interviewing.
Yeah.
I think that talking stuff is tough though because if you're saying I feel like it's too. That's quite ambiguous. So sorry. When I defined when I said you should only have one option, I think as soon as you're dating or you're seeing someone, I think it should only be one person.
No, I agree.
But of course, because on the surface level of if we're literally just WhatsApping and that, we could just be friends. Really.
Yeah,
but the original conversation was Mags is actually ducking here. The original conversation is that she was saying that as soon as she's
I recall this.
let's say she's gone out, she's met someone.
Yeah.
Or she's gonna.
That's what I was gonna say.
She's gonna drop everyone else and
just talk to that
person. She just met the person, by the way.
You guys.
As in today.
So
no one else. She can't.
No, but I think that's a safer option. I'm not saying it
No,
it doesn't work.
hold on. That's not what. That wasn't my view.
Put the combo up on the screen.
To drop everyone else to consider someone that I just met. My view was that I wouldn't be seeing anyone else anyway. This is just a new interest, so I don't have any other interest. And so I wouldn't entertain anyone else if I've met this guy. Even if it's the same day. That's
what I'm saying. Yeah.
No, you're saying I would drop
so
other
you're
people.
saying, okay, you're saying you've just met this guy. He hasn't messaged you, haven't messaged him.
Yeah.
But you meet someone else. You meet someone else, forget that.
Yeah.
You meet someone else.
Yeah.
Are you gonna express interest in that next person?
That's a really good question.
And it's a no. Exactly.
No. Can I answer?
Go on.
It's difficult to say no if I cannot ascertain.
Ascertain. Woo.
What do you mean if you can't gauge?
What?
Ascertain. Go on.
Sorry, I can't breathe right now. Oh my god. Where, like, what the situation is. So if I have a further interest in the guy. So what I'm trying to say is my idea was we are talking. It doesn't have to have gone anywhere. It could have been for a week. But you haven't messaged each other. I don't get that. Yeah, but that's your scenario. That's what I'm saying. So my scenario was slightly different.
Right.
My scenario was we met today and we've been talking for a week. So, but even for me to give him my number, I have an interest in him.
Yeah, you didn't say that in the group.
I can't really remember that conversation.
Yeah, that's why you were just coming.
You're
So let's look at a realistic stage in terms of like you went to a wedding, whatever.
Yeah.
You met someone.
Yeah.
And you just found them interesting, and they asked for your number. For some reason that day you decided to give them your number.
Yeah.
Let's say, so this is Saturday, yeah. So let's say 2 weeks from now you go to another wedding, a similar situation, another guy. So are you saying now because you met Mr. A on 2 Saturdays ago, now you're Mr. B, you can't give me
My question is, have we spoken? That's the
but it's real high level, like, hey,
like literally in what the kind of conversation you would have in the first 2 weeks is literally like, okay, where do you work? Like, do you have siblings? Like things like that.
2 weeks, I wouldn't, because 2 weeks, for me to give out my number, that's my point. For me to give out my number, there's some sort of interest.
Like, you know that if you haven't just met, that's what you've gone to a wedding, you don't know anybody, apart from the bride, and then you happen to be on the table next to boy and girl, and he's looking hella fine, or banger, or any one of your exes, your ex's name. So you're chatting, cool. You guys are vibes in. Oh, how do you know the bride? How do you know the? Oh yeah, I know the groom. I know the bride. Cool. Dance floor, cool. The vibes of day is giving you the eye. You're giving him the eye. Cool. Yeah. End of the night, can I have your number? It'd be really nice if we could. You know what? I don't really give out my number. No, I wouldn't. But I'm gonna give it to you. So you exchange numbers. You're talking, bang. Cool. It's been a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You go to another wedding, similar situation. You meet somebody else. How are you going to know in that first time that? How do you know that there's going to be any kind of interest apart from the fact that he's physically attractive and he was able to hold a conversation that day?
Yeah. I think in 2 weeks I can know if I like this guy, and not like as in I'm in love with him, just like as in I would want to continue to speak to him.
You don't really. It's not like you're not feeling him, not completely, but you're just thinking, okay, it's a bit long. Like we haven't really spoken. We've both been busy at work this week. We haven't, so you're not really sure. So then when you meet like Mr. B, are you then going to be like, oh, I've liked Mr. A, or are you going to be like,
I understand the difficulty, but what I'm trying to say is, for me, I think personally, and I could be wrong, I think personally, if I've spoken to someone consistently over 2 weeks, I would know if I don't want to continue further or not. So if I met someone else, I wouldn't entertain that person. My point is I'm only going to entertain one person. I understand the difficulty. Now, don't get me wrong, there are exceptions to this rule. Like there are times where it's like you meet someone over 2 days and it's like, rah. But I'm just talking about, your average situation.
I just think the average situation doesn't happen that way. That's my point. Like the average situation it's very, like it's a grey area. It's never like, that's what I'm saying. So like the average situation is my scenario. Like in the sense that you don't know yet. So then you're going into another situation with the other one still open. That's my point. That's actually the average. The exception would be that you don't like this guy and then it's calm because you don't like the person.
Another thing I would say is that sometimes you can be talking to someone and even though you have shut the door on everybody else, they still have the door open and are talking to multiple people at the same time. So you might be saying, okay, do you know what, I've reached my last bus stop, but he's still out here like, I'm about to catch a new bus. And I think in this generation as well, people very rarely, I think you should never make an assumption until someone explicitly says, do you know what I mean, these are what my intentions are towards you. And you can steer that conversation or you can bring up that conversation, but I think it would be a bit naive of you to assume that without having that conversation with someone that actually, do you know what, this is what we're doing or this is not what we're doing. I'm not saying that I'm an advocate for this, But if you are going to, I think it's important to be open and honest about that as well.
No,
so that
dating.
know.
Dating. I'm not saying you should date.
No, as in, so you can be.
She's just saying
when I say at any point, you
honest.
should just be honest. So let's say you're dating, as in, I've just met you. I've also just met you.
Yeah.
I might decide, let's go for a coffee. Is that a date? Is that not a date? That's debatable.
Yeah.
So then, let's catch a movie. Is that a date? Is that not a date? That's debatable. Okay, if it's like it's an active romantic pursuit with some kind of intention and destination in mind, then yes, no, you shouldn't be doing like more than one person.
Okay. Yeah.
But if it's just we're all friends and blah blah blah.
But that's the thing. That's when the lines obviously get blurred, which is the point.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, if let's say Margaret's the type of person that does see that as more. I'm not trying to shoot you, but I'm just saying if you do see it more as like, if I'm going to the cinema with you, that's very intentional, that's very specific. Do you get what I mean? Where someone would just be like, okay, I'm just going to the cinema with my friends.
Yeah.
That's the point of clarification.
But that's why you need to have those conversations.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you feel like you need to ask, where is this going? You probably do need to ask, where is this going?
How early is it?
Yeah, how early is
can
too
you have that
early?
conversation? Yeah. I get this is a question for everyone.
You know what?
I think
2
it
weeks is
depends.
far too early.
I think it depends. I don't think you can put a time on it. I think it depends on the intensity of what's actually happening at it. No,
you can't after day 2 be like, where's this going?
But if I know.
What if get intense after 2
What if the woman
It could be, you might have been on holiday and it's like,
what if the woman's been scoring and after 2 days she's like, you know what?
I need clarity.
Yeah, but that's too much.
I'm asking Danny.
But I think if that's what she needs to do, then that's what she needs to do. I don't think you can put a marker down. I think it depends on, for example, if I don't want to use Love Island as an example. I don't want to use it. But like on Love Island, for example, they spend so much time together that after 5 days, they believe that they're in love. So that's what I mean. It depends on the intensity. If I'm seeing you, I don't know, like 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. At that point, it's already quite intense. And I'm speaking to you pretty much from morning till night.
That doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. But I'm saying, for an example.
After a week, you'll be asking.
No, but let's say, for example, you met someone at work.
If you're talking to a girl morning till night messaging and then you're calling 5 days in a row, she has the right to ask you where's this going. Definitely.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I mean. It depends on the intensity.
For the most part, most relationships aren't as intense like that. In the sense of like the average.
I think you'd be surprised, you know. I think
Danny's been in a few situations.
Clearly.
I haven't. Nah, not at all.
I think if we're going by like just averagely, I think in terms of like 2 days is a bit ridiculous. But I do understand your point.
I'm not sure. In that situation where Danny said it when it's intense.
But that situation isn't the average. That's my point.
I think you'd be surprised.
I think you'd be surprised.
Guys, why do you prefer to leave your options open?
No, that's a dangerous question. That's dangerous. No, that's loaded. That's loaded. That is a loaded question.
Can I explain something? I have a view and you guys disagree with me, so I'm trying to understand why.
No, but you're saying...
Why are you guys shifting
the way you put the way you put the question, you're making it out like we're just all out here. Yeah, just out here. No, it's not.
Why do you prefer to leave your options open?
At the early stage, you have to add that.
You keep your options open at the early stage because you don't know where it's gonna go. And again, there's no guarantees until someone actually verbalizes this is what I want. And even when somebody says to you, you know, actually I want to pursue this and blah 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 or whatever. Again, that's not a guarantee. They're not legally bound to you. I think people keep their options open. Number one, not to make themselves vulnerable. And they also keep their options open because they're scoping for maybe something might be better.
Why do you think you're not vulnerable?
You don't even know if it's better yet.
You don't know enough.
Why do you assume that you're not being vulnerable? Sorry, if you're keeping your options open, you could still be vulnerable to that one guy.
True, but the point is more, if you're so closed off from the get-go, you've almost put your eggs in one basket. And I don't like to use that like. Exactly, so it's almost saying like, oh, whether you think you're being wise or not, like you've almost said, okay, so even if you're scoping around, I'm just focusing on you right now. And then the likelihood of, if this just fizzles out into friendship or into just nothing, it's going to be very likely that you end up upset or whatever. So I would say keep my mind open rather than like my options technically, in the sense of like anything could happen. Just having that
No
view
one
of like
disagrees with that.
my reasoning would then be like, then if I met another guy like 2 weeks later, he wouldn't be off the table all of a sudden because I had a really great conversation for 2 weeks with another guy. That's the difference.
Even speaking after 2 weeks, you
Still don't understand.
I'm just asking a question.
Wait, so after 2 weeks?
Yeah, you will still leave
For
your
me,
options.
yeah,
2 weeks is just one example, but go on.
Okay, yeah.
That's a good time frame, I reckon.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
That's
not
very
enough.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
if it was like a month now, it'd be a bit different because I would have had to be like, okay, I'm not feeling you. I think after a month you can gauge that, but 2 weeks is still early.
I agree. I'm thinking I'm agreeing with Danny. So hold on.
You are.
After 2 weeks,
my
of
options
good
is-
conversation, you don't think that's enough of an indication as to whether you like this guy or not?
It might not be. It's like I don't think.
Good conversation.
I don't know, I just don't think it's conclusive yet. You know, like with
It's
the
not
jury.
conclusive.
Yeah.
No, I'm not
I
saying
don't
like
think like
he's
that.
gonna
Just
propose
say
to me
your
next week.
idea.
I'm saying this is a guy I would like to
No, it could be like I like.
cement.
I still think that's.
But that's what we're asking.
2 weeks
I
of
think
good convo.
I think 2
Yeah,
weeks
I
can
think
be
2 weeks of
really
good
It's a lot of
convo.
my
2 weeks
time,
of good
boy.
convo is kind of
especially with a
another
stranger.
Yeah.
Are we setting it that it's consistent? So Monday to
Yes.
Friday,
Yes.
consistent every single day. Yeah, okay, that means I can hold great conversation with you for 2 weeks. That doesn't mean I'm going to walk down the altar with you.
I'm not saying that.
No, no,
I'm
that's
not saying
the
that.
whole time.
No, but that's
saying
that's
that.
my point.
I think 2 weeks is a really
It's
short
so
frame of
such-
time.
such a-
So wait, sorry, what?
That's
To,
what I think.
to get to know someone's character, to know
So wait,
if
are
you
you
want to
telling
pursue
me,
something
yeah?
further.
Sorry, are
2
you
weeks is-
telling me that you lot can talk to multiple people, yeah, for more than 2 weeks?
Okay, can I?
That's a
just,
bit dangerous.
That's a good question.
No, but
Thank you.
I guess essentially that's
What
what
I'm
Yeah, that's what
saying-
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
No,
Not
that's a lot. That's a lot to
That's
offer
not.
out.
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, and when we're saying talking to like more than one person, when I say talk, don't do that. When I say talking to more than one person, when I say talking, I'm not saying like, oh, we're on the phone till 4 in the morning, and then you know it's like good. I'm just saying you might check in with someone like
Every now and
once
again.
or every now and again
The
over the
scenario
course
was
of.
consistent speaking, like
Consistent,
like
good
Okay, yeah,
speaking.
so that's what I'm saying. Okay, so no, the answer to that then would be then no. You shouldn't be. You can't have that level of intensity with more than one person. But in a real life
That's what I'm
situation,
saying. That's not.
It's not gonna.
I think it
doesn't
definitely
usually-
can be.
It can be, but it doesn't usually happen like that.
Yeah.
So what
It's
happens is
for
you meet
example.
somebody. You know, you might have a great conversation. You might not speak to them for like maybe
2 or 3 days.
Yeah, 2, 3, 4 days, and then you speak to them again. In that time frame, you might have met somebody else, so you've already got a friend.
But Danny, for you, why do you think it's important for you to put all your eggs in one basket?
Because I just think it's difficult to establish something quite meaningful when spreading quite wide. But I've always operated like that, and I think it is quite difficult to.
Why are you man looking at me?
Why are you looking at?
I don't know.
Anyway,
I just feel
and
like pulling up this group chat.
I think it is hard. No, obviously the group chat. Listen,
I'm so
on the group chat, I completely forgotten what I said. And I can. But what I'm saying is that I think it's difficult to maintain. Obviously, at the beginning stages, if we're referring to that, then. But when it starts getting a bit.
But Danny, I don't think we disagree with you. But we're saying at the very early stage.
Like,
Right.
As in early doors, as in it's
How
just.
early? Couple days.
First
But you've just met.
No.
It's not like a friend who.
even
I'm not even talking weeks. I'm talking
days.
very like
Yeah.
you just met someone.
Like on
You just had
Saturday.
a number.
Yeah.
You might go to work tomorrow. Someone new just joined.
Yeah, and I'm.
That's
I'm
so
talking
what?
about you met
even
someone
still.
yesterday and then you meet
Is
someone
it?
for work
Honestly, like despite what I said, even if I probably do agree that you might want to spread. For me personally, I think I would. I wouldn't necessarily actively lock off other people, but I know for if someone else did pop up and I liked the person that I was chatting to the day before, I know 100% that my attention or the way that I might see the second person, even though I can acknowledge like, rah, there.
Do you know what? I think it might be
I
different
won't
for
be
men
as
and
on
women
it.
though, because
we
you're
get the
doing-
approach.
because you're the one doing the
Yeah.
pursuing.
Now, but
So-
some man you'll talk to, they'll be happy to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But like.
So I think you're not gonna be like, oh, I can't be your friend because I'm Danny's friend.
The reason why I didn't say it's a friend is because you didn't move to the girl that you didn't think was attractive. But anyway, that's just my view.
No, don't
No,
come
you're
with that.
But I'm saying you can't. Obviously, that's an aspect of it. I'm saying that you genuinely wanted to get to know that person for other purposes.
Like, we're just getting to know each other. I'm trying to
You're
see.
friends.
We're just friends. You know,
Yeah.
there might be an extra element there. Yes, I find you physically attractive, and yes, there's a romantic energy between us. But I just want to clarify and put some disclaimers out there because I feel like I'm not saying that girls should be out here willy-nilly just like being deceitful and leading men on and
guys,
and I'm not saying that guys should also be deceitful and blah blah blah. I'm just saying that you shouldn't make any assumptions until someone has actually verbalized that this is what I want to do with you, or this is what I see for us. And also I think in the very early preliminary stages, there's nothing wrong with getting to know more than one person at a time. But if you feel like you have to be underhanded or conceal certain things about your daily activities, then that's a problem. So you and Tom, you're really feeling him. You met him at a wedding a month ago or 3 weeks ago, and now you're only talking to Tom because
even though in that meantime other people have approached you, but you've cut them off.
Cool. Then you and Alex go to Costa and you see Emily and Tom having a whale of a time. Yeah, she's
hence why I don't do more than one option, because I would like I would like how I should be treated. Like I would want to be treated in a way where.
And I think that's the side that I was. Yeah,
that's my point. So I would.
Well, if he had communicated to you that he was seeing other people,
we're no longer talking.
Okay, fair enough.
So it wouldn't be.
But we're saying for our initial scenario, we're saying that there's this getting to know you stage, right? I'm saying once I've established that I actually like Tom. Then it's just Tom.
But what I'm saying, you guys
you're saying to get to the point where I really like Tom, I have to go on a date with him.
No. I'm saying no. I'm not talking about what you think about him. What I'm talking about is you guys are talking. When you talk to people, you end up on dates, right?
No,
you don't. But let's say there's a situation where you do go on a date. He says, "Let's go for coffee."
That's a difference. That's
a different level.
But you still have other people.
Not part of the same level.
But wait, you still have other people in the picture,
you
right?
You might still have other
exactly.
people in the
So
picture.
if
but
another guy
initially,
that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about loads of dates. I'm talking about, let's say, the first date. If Jonathan comes to the coffee shop and you're there with Tom, how would you feel?
Handle that situation.
How would you handle that? How would you think?
I'm going to be like, hi Jonathan,
what's the issue?
Here I'm on a date.
That's what I'm trying to understand.
I just think it's not
we're
that
all friends, isn't it?
Okay,
we're all friends.
Technically,
friends. I'm not going to be introducing Tom as my boyfriend.
That's my man.
No, I'm just saying, how would you feel knowing
this
that?
Is Jonathan, this is Tom. What's going on?
So you think there should be an element of like, not shame, but just embarrassment almost?
I would be shocked. I'm shocked that there isn't, if I'm honest.
Because there's nothing too deep that's happening.
I'm just getting to know Tom.
Going for a coffee. There's nothing wrong with that.
It might just be it might be Oxford.
No, but I really don't like what Margaret is.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm saying like that's your position. That's what I'm saying.
Like I don't think it's a big deal. Like we're all adults, and even after the first date, you might go on the first date. It doesn't bang.
Absolutely, we don't dispute any of that. We're just talking about the reality of.
But then if it's that early stage, I would feel genuinely no type of way because it's so early that if even leaving Costa, I might be like, nah, never again. Then I'm not gonna be embarrassed.
But you can still be friends with him.
Yeah, you can true. But I'm just saying, of course, I'm just saying, I'm not gonna feel some type of way about Jonathan now. I'm thinking, oh no, that was. I'm just gonna be like, okay, both of you might not even happen.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not gonna be like devastated now. Feel embarrassed.
Yeah. And you wouldn't feel away
type of shame.
And you wouldn't feel away if you saw a guy
that I was
with another girl that you were talking to with another girl. That's my last one.
Early days.
Yeah.
You might just not like me like that, and I'll just be like, keep it moving.
Cool, guys. End of discussion.
I don't know the videos.
What's that?
Gang.
Sorry, that's not how you finish a video, sorry. So guys, thank you so much for the discussion. It's interesting to hear your various views on having different options. So yeah, I wish you all the best in your romantic pursuit.
I love that.
Your romantic endeavours, and maybe you should consider other options.